Hey, Mama. Welcome to Marketing Without Socials for Moms. I'm your host, Andria Singletary, daughter of the king, wife, mama of two, and visibility strategist for moms who want to make social media optional. When I'm not grabbing the 100th go-go squeeze applesauce for my kids, you can find me curled up on the couch with a homemade chai tea latte and a good book. So tell me, have you reached the point in your business where you are done with social media burnout and ready to make social media optional? Are you consistently posting reels and carousels and showing up in stories, but sporadically signing new clients? Or maybe your season of life has drastically changed, meaning you have less time to show up on socials to grow your business. Trust me, I get it. I have been in each of these scenarios at some point in my business journey. It wasn't until I started leaning into marketing strategies outside of social media that I started having more predictability in my sales and growing my business in a way that supported my current season of life. And I want that for you, Mama. Each week, I'm giving you the inside scoop on how to increase your visibility and sales through podcasting, email marketing, and collaborations. All right, Mama, now grab your coffee, notebook, and pen, and let's dive into today's episode. Hey, Mama. So continuing with the rebrand party this week, I am answering another question that I received from one of the mamas inside of my email community. And so the question was basically getting at, how to develop a plan that will allow you to get more eyes on your business without it leading to burnout. So specifically, she said, she's really looking for a repeatable weekly visibility strategy that includes time for self-care. She said she doesn't need self-care tips, just the space to get it all done. And just a little bit about her. She said she's a human design projector and that this is absolutely essential for her to avoid burnout. So first thing I'm going to say is join the social media detox club. And I'm not saying that just because it's my offer and I love it, but that is the reason why many of the mamas join the membership. They want to get more visible, but they want to do it in a way that's sustainable, that really allows them to prioritize other things in their business. And so inside of the social media detox club, I make it stupid easy for you. I find all of the opportunities for you. I also just added a new resource at the request of one of the mamas who, she said that it's taken her a long time to fill out these applications for collaborations. And so she wanted to know if there was a more streamlined or organized way to do it. And I was like, you know what? I got you. Let me create something for you guys. And so I put together this Google Doc. It's absolutely beautiful, on brand. But it allows you to essentially put everything in one place that you need when you are applying for collaboration. So instead of having to go over here and go over there and go over here and go over there to gather all of this information, you have it all organized in one place where essentially you just have to copy and paste the information into the application, cutting down the amount of time it takes you to apply for these collaborations. So that's my first answer to this question. Just join the social media detox club. Head on over to mamaturnedmompreneur.com/membership. But to dig into it a little bit more, one of the things, or I don't want to say one of the things, there are a few things that you really want to consider when developing a visibility plan. And so I'm going to walk you through my process for supporting a mama inside of the membership with developing a visibility plan. So the first thing we look at is, what is her current capacity? And this will help us both to determine how often she can actually collaborate and what other visibility platforms that she should be showing up on. So again, a lot of the mamas who join the social media detox club, they're time poor. They do not have a lot of time. And so they need simple ways to continue to show up and be seen, getting more eyes on their business that's not going to require more of their time and their energy. And so we look at, okay, realistically, how much time do you have each month to dedicate to collaborations? And this includes applying for these collaborations, going through the directory that I update weekly, going through that to see, what collaboration opportunities are available and make sense for them, but then also participating in these collaborations. So if it's a bundle, having everything ready to go for that bundle, which that's something else I teach inside of the membership is, how to essentially get everything ready ahead of time. So that way, if you want to reuse the specific resource in multiple bundles, all you're essentially doing is like copying or duplicating that sales page or that landing page for that resource for each bundle, already having the welcome sequence together. Of course, you will tweak it, with time as, more people go through it and you're able to see what's working, what's not working. But having all of those pieces together and then also, looking at other ways that they can get visible. So maybe they, want to leverage their own platform for visibility. So like inside of the Social Detox Accelerator, my 3-month group program, we focus on leveraging podcasting for visibility. But again, just looking at what your current capacity is, what you can realistically commit to. The next thing we look at is what has worked well for them in the past. I am one that is not about reinventing the wheel. Like, mama, if something you're doing is already working and you can commit to it, then let's stick with it. Let's look at how we can maximize that. So for instance, one of the mamas who joined the membership, she shared with me that she really thrives in podcast guesting, that she has signed multiple clients from podcast guesting. And I'm like, okay, let's stick with that. I find podcast guesting opportunities for the mama. So I told her, you focus on podcast guesting and speaking engagements because podcast guesting is essentially a speaking engagement. And so focusing on those platforms and getting visible that way, because that has worked so well for her. And it's something that she's like, okay, I can do this with the limited time that I have, each month. I can do so many of those type of collaborations each month. And then the last thing is really looking at who, their ideal client is and where they are hanging out. And so this is key. You want to make sure you are getting in front of the right people. And that involves knowing where your people are hanging out, how they are consuming content. And so one of the other mamas inside of the Social Media Detox Club, she primarily serves like established business owners, those who've been in the game for some time and everything. And they are to the point where they're like, okay, I have, been hustling hard and everything. I'm ready to build a life first business. And so these business owners, they aren't necessarily signing up for resources and bundles. Most likely they're probably collaborating in bundles, but they aren't looking for support through bundles, but they do listen to podcasts. They are a part of mastermind groups and memberships. And so for this specific client, we developed a visibility plan that focuses on podcast guesting, speaking engagements, like including speaking in front of like memberships and mastermind groups, and even her hosting her own private podcast. Now, just a disclaimer there, inside of the Social Media Detox Club, I do not support with you building out like your own podcast or anything like that. So one of the perks of being a member is that you can book a strategy session with me that may look like us hopping on a Zoom call or us doing a day in Voxer where we can dive into your podcast. Or if you want to create like a private podcast lead magnet, we can map all of that out. So I did want to give that disclaimer there. That's one of the perks for being a member. If you're not a member, it is a higher investment than the $97. But anyways, that is something we did for that specific mama because, again, looking at who she serves, where they're hanging out, and again, because she has limited time, we really have to make sure that she is getting visible the right way. So getting in front of her people, not just, okay, let me throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. No, We do not have time for that. We have to be intentional. So to answer this question, or to dive into it more, because I've already answered the question, but it sounds like the best place for this mama to start is looking at, what she can realistically commit to right now. So is that 2 collaborations per month? Or, is she in a season where she wants to start prioritizing visibility for a couple of months at a time and then step back from visibility? And that's the thing about, visibility. Like when you leverage different visibility methods, you don't have to be on all the time. So for instance, for this month, November and December, I'm not really doing any collaborations. I think I have one that's supposed to go live the week of Thanksgiving. But outside of that, I'm actually taking a break from visibility to focus on other aspects of my business. So really nurturing my current community, connecting and engaging with them, and selling my offers to the people who are already in my audience instead of trying to generate more leads. Now, does this mean that I'm not going to generate leads at all? No, because my podcast is a visibility platform. My podcast brings in new leads monthly and everything, but it doesn't require as much of me because at the end of the day, I am going to record a podcast, because it's part of my visibility, marketing, and sales strategy. This platform allows me to do multiple things at once. So because of that, my podcast with SEO, it allows me to continue to get visible without having to do anything extra. But then I also do have some podcast interviews that are going to be going live later this year and early 2025 that's also going to support with my visibility. So what I'm getting at is I don't want you to think that you need to be doing a collaboration every single week to get visible. No, it's not like social media. Most of my clients leverage anywhere from 2 to 3 collaborations per month, and that brings in 50 plus leads per month for them. It's not them collaborating every single week or multiple times a week and whatnot. Now, I do have some clients who they go hard on the visibility and it works for them in this season of their life and everything. But then there are people like my coach, Kay Hellman, who she actually does visibility sprints. And that's where she essentially prioritizes visibility for a few months and then shifts to focusing on nurturing and converting her current audience. But it doesn't mean that she's completely stepping away from any of these tasks. So she still gets visible with her own podcast when she's not actively focusing on visibility, through collaborations, or for her, social media is a big part of her visibility strategy too. But it's not being impacted when she's, showing up on those platforms less because she still has her podcast working for her. So I really wanted to stress that point because it kind of sounded like, from this mama's question that she's thinking she has to get visible a lot, maybe doing something each week to get visible. And it's no, you don't have to do that. And there's more I can dive into here, but I'm not. But really looking at, it's knowing your numbers. So looking at what your conversion rate is, and based off of that, knowing how many people you need to be getting into your world so that way you can hit those numbers. So knowing your conversion rate, knowing what your goals are. So your income goals, or maybe so many people you want to sign into your offers, and then making sure that you're getting enough leads that's going to help you hit those numbers. So I don't personally know those numbers and I can't give you specifics in that sense, but you figure out what those numbers are and that will tell you how many leads you actually need to be generating each month. But also making sure you're not just generating a whole bunch of leads and not selling to them, not nurturing them, not engaging with them. The other piece of this is not getting into a habit of where you're just generating leads and never converting them. because then you're just growing an audience, but it's not benefiting you in any way. So there's multiple steps to this. Yes, visibility is very important, but so is nurturing your audience and engaging with them and selling to them, making the sell. And I've talked about this a lot in different episodes. So it's so many factors that go into it. And so you have to look at each of those pieces. And all of that is important because it can impact whether or not it leads to burnout. And I find that people hit burnout when they're focusing primarily on a single thing and it's not getting them the results that they want. And so it just stresses them out, leads to overwhelm, and it feels like they're just banging their head against the wall. So I went on a tangent there, but to wrap this up, inside of the Social Media Detox Club, I support you in developing a visibility plan that fits your current season of life. We look at your current capacity and what your goals are. And then from there, we map out a plan that you can realistically commit to. So if that's where you're like, you know what, I got the sales part down. I know how to nurture and engage with my audience. I just need to get more eyes on my business, then the Social Media Detox Club is for you. So head on over to mamaturnedmompreneur.com/membership to join us inside. All right, Mama, I will catch you in the next episode. Hey, Mama. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to hang with me. I would love to keep the conversation going. So head to mamaturnedmompreneur.com/marketing without socials to join my email community. I share even more tips and strategies for building a business that doesn't rely on social media and one that fits your current season of life, as well as more behind the scenes of mom and business life. All right, Mama, that's it for today, but I'll catch up with you again next week.